Hi there everybody, I am a huge fan of Square Enix. I have loved them ever since I was a little kid. The Enix games, the Square games, I was all about them. The Dragon Quest games, the Heaven and Earth trilogies, the weirdo things like Robo Trek and Seven Saga that Enix would put out, or those classics, like of course, Final Fantasy, Xenogears, Chrono Trigger that Square would put out. I loved them all. But Square isn't doing so well these days, and they released some financial reports, and I do want to go over them with you because there's a lot of doom and gloom out there. The sky is falling. Oh no, they're going under. But I think that if we look at these with a level head, we can really make sense of what is going on here. So I'm going to be going over them with you, and I totally do think that that's worth a sub as you come and you join my party and you level on up with me. So thank you so much for that. But first, before we do get started, I gotta ask you, have you ever wanted to create your own game or start your own career in coding? Well, now you can, and let me tell you how. I've said it before and I'm going to be saying it again. I am not the most computer literate person around. I myself didn't really get one until I was away at college when I was 19 or so years old. So whenever boot.dev approached me for a sponsorship, I was a bit apprehensive to say the least. But after trying out the program for a couple of days, I can happily say that they are legit. Here you can learn to code back-end web development from start to finish on Python, SQL, and Go. And you'll learn how to do it by building real projects and doing real-life work. And if you're ever confused on what to do or where to go, your very own personal AI tutor is there to give you a nudge in the right direction. Not only that, they've gamified the whole experience. You're going to be getting levels, achievements, and even complete quests as you learn to code, and eventually land your dream job. That's the end goal, isn't it? I mean, these coding jobs are mostly work from home, and they do pay a pretty penny too. Now, do keep in mind, this is not some sort of get-rich-quick scheme. You do have to put in the work, but they also offer a 30-day, no questions asked refund policy, as well as a free demo on every single course that they do provide. So if you want to learn to code and also have some fun at the same time, then head on over to boot.dev and use my code DavidVink in order to get 25% off your entire first year for the annual plan. All the links are right below, so go ahead and let your coding career begin. Thank you so much for listening to all that. So Square Enix, as I said, has released its quarterly earnings report for the Q1 of this year. So that's going to be April through June of 2025. So let's look and see what we got going on right here. It says that game sales were down sharply year over year, due in large part to a lack of a big release in early 2025. And we know they haven't really released all that much. We got some more stuff coming, but nothing really came during, April through June. We had maybe 2 games, I think. I can think of Saga Frontier 2 Remastered, which Shadow dropped with no fanfare whatsoever. If you blinked, you missed the frickin' thing. And then with even less fanfare than that, Front Mission 3 Remastered came out. That's all I can really think of. But last year, during that same time period, we had a ton, a freaking ton. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Saga Emerald Beyond, Romancing Saga 2, Visions of Mana, Dragon Quest 3, Fantasian. So if they're making money, I think that they're making money based upon last year's games. People are still buying them, they're buying them on sale, and all that kind of stuff. So right now, they are at a 15% decline in their quarterly net sales, and their company-wide operating income is down over 16 points. But, if you're not releasing games, you're not making a profit, duh. So I don't think that that's anything to really get too upset about right there, because again, there are more games coming later on this year, like Octopath Traveler 0, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 Remake, Final Fantasy Tactics is coming out as well. Woo fricking who. So looking forward to that. Then it goes on to talk about, the actual games that we did get during that one little time period right there last year, and it was 2 games. We got Octopath Traveler 2 for the Xbox, it got ported on over the Xbox, and Final Fantasy 16 came out on June the 22nd right there. So, I mean, how are you going to sit there and say that the sales for this time period this year aren't doing that great whenever you're going up against Final Fantasy 16 last year? What is going to compete against Final Fantasy 16? You know what I'm saying? Of course it's down, but it's down because they don't have Final Fantasy 17, but no one expects Final Fantasy 17 to come out either. However, with all that being said, Operating profit in the HD video game segment, that's the console games, the PC games, rose by 1,900%. Wow. And it says the company leadership attributed the margin rebound to lower development costs and reduced marketing spending compared to the second quarter of the calendar year of 2024. In plain English, Square Enix sold fewer big games, but it also ate fewer past project costs and it spent less on advertising, so its profits in the HD segment still rose substantially. As we saw, I think the only advertisement that we got for Saga Frontier 2 remastered was pretty much being like a shadow drop at a Nintendo Direct, like that was it. And then there was like an article on Gamatsu saying that Front Mission 3 Remastered was out. That was it. It was like a press release, like that's it, nothing else at all. So if they say that they're reducing their marketing spending up, they're being serious. Like you blink and you miss it, you don't even know what's out there. Like for God's sakes, it's kind of crazy right there. Then it goes on to say that the broader digital entertainment segment, which is their mobile games, their MMOs, things like that, is down by about $222 million. But why is that down? Well, what came out last year? Oh, the Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail expansion came out last year. Again, how are you going to compete with that this year? There is no other expansion out right now for Final Fantasy XIV, so of course their MMO profits are down right now because they don't have an MMO expansion, like duh frickin' huh. Their mobile operating profit margin increased a little tiny bit, about $22 million. That's probably because they came out with Ember Storia last year over in Japan. That one is still not out here in English, and I have heard some very, very good things about Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent. Ever since Octopath Zero came out, everybody's been talking about Champions of the Continent and going on about that and saying so many good things about it, so I am hearing great things about that. So I also have to say this, that this year in November is going to mark the halfway point of their 36-month restructuring plan. Remember they talked about that? Streamlining the development processes, revamping their targets, and focusing on quality over quantity, as well as getting rid of exclusivity. So they're trying to do that, but at the same time, Bravely Default 2 Remastered was a Switch 2 exclusive. The demo of Adventures of Elliot was a Switch 2 exclusive. So if we could not have that, that would be great. Yeah. So just saying. So they're saying they don't want the exclusives, but they're still putting out these exclusives. But I do think that the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is also probably going to be a PlayStation exclusive because I think that they have a contract for that, I've got to say. But they did talk about, getting rid of all this shovelware, getting rid of all these really crummy games that they have been putting out. And I think that they're referencing back in 2022 when they put out 50 billion frickin' games in the course of 3 months. It was Voice of Cards, Beast of Burden in September. Various Daylife came out in the very same day. Not that anybody bought or cared about Various Daylife, but it came out. 1 week later, the Diofield Chronicle came out. 1 week after that, Valkyrie Elysium came out. 1 month later, Stars in the Divine Force came out. 1 week later, Harvestella. 1 week after that, Tactics Ogre Reborn, and 1 month after that, Dragon Quest Treasures. So a ton of games came out all right around the same time, and they're like, hey, we're not going to do that again. We're going to restructure. We're going to figure things out, and they're working on it, and we are getting more high-quality games. I am so looking forward to the games that we do have coming out. There aren't as many, which is fine, but the ones that we're getting look to be really good. But now I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about the restructuring plan? What do you think that they're doing the right thing? What do you think about these financial results? Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.